Coming from Northern California Public Media, Living Downstream, the environmental justice podcast. I'm your host, Steve Mencher.
There are many people out here with respiratory problems. Maybe researchers can't link it directly to the dumps, but it's a big coincidence for a community that's been living next to a burning open-air dump for years, don't you think? Little by little, I began to see the community's problems as my own. When we heard reports of people getting sick, that's when I said, that's it.
The state told my grandma that she did not have lead in her yard, but everybody else around my grandma's house has lead. So then come to figure out, my grandma does have lead in her dirt.
On Living Downstream, we'll hear stories from California to Indonesia. Stories of how poor people and people of color are disproportionately affected by climate change and chemicals in the air, earth, and water.
One by one, they began coming in and explaining what their illnesses were. Each of them were doused heavily with Agent Orange, some for almost a decade. And they were misled to believe that there was nothing wrong with these chemicals. Why weren't they told? Why weren't they warned?
Right now I'm fighting stage 4 esophageal cancer, which has spread to lobes in my lungs. There's one in my left groin there. There's one right there. I think there's one on one of my aortas. But I'm pretty well eat up with it.
Terrell Gatlin died a little more than 2 weeks after I interviewed him.
Subscribe to Living Downstream, the environmental justice podcast, wherever you get your podcasts.
All of us are like a crab in the barrel. We all trying to get out, and that made the process a lot worse. I just wish they had a better plan. They should have had a plan B and a plan C and a plan D. And they just had plan A, get out, that's it. That's all.